How are you feeling today? A little better, thank you. We're all here for you. Bless you. I'm so sorry I abandoned you all to your father when you were small. If I could take back the time, I would be a good mother to you. My beautiful daughters, I'm so sorry I left you with your father. If I could turn back time, I'd be a good mother to you all.
The worn-out leather suitcase hit the red dusty ground with a heavy thud that echoed through the quiet compound. 45-year-old Chukwudi stood frozen at the door of his mud house, his eyes fixed on the woman who had just thrown the suitcase at his feet. His heart pounded so violently against his chest he thought it would burst through his skin. The afternoon sun beat down mercilessly on both of them, but Chukwudi felt nothing but cold. "Amara, please," his voice cracked like dry wood. "Don't do this. Think about the children." Amara adjusted her expensive girly head tie, refusing to meet his eyes. Behind her, a shiny black Mercedes waited on the untarred road, its engine purring softly. The driver, a well-dressed man with sunglasses, watched the scene with impatience. "The children." Amara laughed, but there was no joy in it. "You mean these 6 hungry mouths I've been feeding with my tears? These girls who wear torn dresses to church every Sunday? Look at them, Chukwudi. Just look." The 6 girls stood huddled together near the cassava plantation. Adiz, the eldest at 15, held her youngest sister, 2-year-old Ngozi, tightly in her arms. Her jaw was set firm, but tears streamed silently down her cheeks. 12-year-old Chioma gripped 10-year-old Ifeoma's hand so hard their knuckles turned white. 7-year-old Nkechi buried her face in 8-year-old Amara Jr.'s shoulder, her small body shaking with sobs. "I'm building something," Chukwudi pleaded, stepping forward. "The poultry will start laying eggs next month. I have customers waiting." "Next month?" Amara cut him off sharply. "You've been saying next month for 15 years. 15 years of poverty. 15 years of watching my friends drive their own cars while I walk to the stream. 15 years of borrowing salt from neighbors." Her voice rose with each word, trembling with years of suppressed anger. "I'm tired. I'm tired of being poor." Little Ngozi stretched her tiny hands toward her mother. "Mama, Mama." Amora's eyes flickered toward her youngest daughter for just a moment. Something soft passed through them, but it disappeared as quickly as it came. She straightened her shoulders and walked toward the waiting car. "Mama, don't go." Nkechi broke free and ran toward her mother, grabbing her wrapper. "Please, Mama, don't leave us." Amara stopped. For one breathless moment, everyone thought she would change her mind. She looked down at her daughter's tea-stained face, then slowly, deliberately, she pried the little fingers from her wrapper. Without a single word, she got into the Mercedes and closed the door. The car drove away, leaving behind a cloud of red dust and 6 heartbroken girls crying for their mother. What kind of woman abandons her own children? What could possibly drive a mother to walk away from 6 daughters she carried in her womb? The answer to that question would not be revealed until 25 years later, and when it came, it would shake the very foundations of their world. Hello, welcome to Echoes of the Baobab Trees. Kindly like and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories. 3 months before that terrible day, the Okonkwo family compound in the small village of Umuse in Anambra State had been filled with laughter. The 6 girls were returning from the stream, balancing clay pots on their heads with the grace their mother had taught them. 15-year-old Adiz led the way, her pot steady despite the uneven path. "Mama! Mama!" little Ngozi called out as they entered the compound. Adiz caught a fish in the stream. A real fish. Amara sat under the mango tree, shelling groundnuts into a calabash bowl. She smiled, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. Lately, her smiles never reached her eyes. "A fish?" she asked flatly. "Your father hasn't brought meat from the market in 2 weeks, and you bring one small fish." Adiz's excitement dimmed. She placed the pot down carefully. "It's for soup, Mama. I'll cook it with ogbono. It will be enough for everyone." "Enough for everyone." Amara laughed bitterly. One small fish for 8 people. This is what our lives have become. Chukwudi emerged from the small poultry shed at the back of the compound, wiping sweat from his forehead with an old rag. His once strong frame had grown thin over the years, but his eyes still held hope. My wife, the chickens are growing well, he said cheerfully, trying to brighten the mood. Another 2 months, and we'll start selling eggs. You'll see, things will change. Amara didn't look up from her groundnuts. You've been saying that since our first daughter was born. That evening, as the family gathered around the fire for dinner, an argument erupted that would mark the beginning of the end. Chief Okonkwo's wife passed by today, Amara said, stirring the pot of watery soup. She was wearing gold jewelry. Real gold. And driving a new car. Chukwudi sighed deeply. Amara, please. Chief Okonkwo is a wealthy man. I am just a farmer. You are just a farmer. Amara's voice rose. When I married you, your father was alive. You had land. You had cocoa plantations. Then your brother cheated you and took everything, and you just accepted it. What would you have me do? Chukwudi's voice carried a rare edge of anger. Go to war with my own brother. Shed blood over land. Yes. Amara stood up, her eyes blazing. Yes. You should have fought. You should have done something. Instead, you brought me and our daughters to live in this hut. The girls sat frozen, their spoons suspended midair. Adis quietly pulled Ngozi closer to her. Your brother lives in Enugu now in a mansion, Amara continued, her voice cracking. His children go to private schools. And my children? My children wear second-hand clothes from the market. They eat 1 meal a day. They walk barefoot to school. Tears streamed down her face. I grew up poor, Chukwudi. I promised myself I would never be poor again. And look at me. Look at us. 2 weeks after that argument, something unexpected happened that would change everything. A sleek black car parked outside the Okonkwo compound, drawing stares from all the neighbors. Children ran to see who had come, their eyes wide with wonder. A tall, elegant woman stepped out, dressed in the finest lace material. Gold earrings dangled from her ears, and her shoes looked like they cost more than Chukwudi made in a year. My old friend, the woman called out, opening her arms wide. Amara. Is that you? Amara emerged from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her wrapper. Her face transformed when she saw the visitor. Chinenai. Chinenai Mosu. Is it really you? The two women embraced like long-lost sisters. Chinenai looked around the compound with barely hidden disgust, her eyes taking in the mud walls, the thatched roof, the children in faded clothes. Oh, my dear, Chinenai said, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. You're still living like this? Amara's face flushed with shame. She called to Adis. Bring our guest some water. Cold water from the pot. Adis hurried to obey, but Chinenai waved her away. Don't bother. I'm not used to drinking stream water anymore. My driver has bottled water in the car. She snapped her fingers, and the driver rushed to bring a small bottle. That evening, after Chinenai left with promises to visit again, Amara sat alone under the mango tree, staring into the darkness. The bottled water stood untouched beside her, a symbol of everything she didn't have. Adis approached quietly. Mama, are you okay? Amara looked at her eldest daughter, so beautiful, so responsible, wearing a dress with patches on both knees. Something broke inside her. I'm fine, she whispered. Go to sleep. But Adis saw the tears in her mother's eyes, and her heart ached with a fear she couldn't name. Chinenai visited 3 more times over the next month. Each time, she came with gifts, a small bag of rice, some tin fish, second-hand clothes for the children. Each gift felt like salt in an open wound. You know, Chinenai said during her 3rd visit, lowering her voice conspiratorially, I have a cousin in Lagos. A businessman. Very wealthy. His wife died 2 years ago, and he's looking for a new wife. Amara's heart skipped a beat. What does that have to do with me? Chinenai raised an eyebrow. My dear, you're still beautiful. Any man would be lucky to have you. Why waste your beauty in this village, suffering with a poor farmer? But I'm married, Amara whispered. I have children. Children. Chinenai laughed softly. Children can survive. Women like us deserve more than survival. We deserve to live. The seed had been planted. In the days that followed, it would grow roots deep into Amara's heart, fed by every empty pot, every patched dress, every hungry cry. The night before she left, Amara held her youngest daughter for a long time. 2-year-old Ngozi slept peacefully in her arms, unaware that her world was about to shatter. I'm sorry, Amara whispered into the child's hair. Mama is sorry. But Mama can't stay here and die of poverty. Adiz, unable to sleep, heard her mother's words through the thin mud wall. She lay frozen in her bed, tears soaking her pillow, too afraid to move, too afraid to speak. In the morning, she would pretend she heard nothing. And for 25 years, she would carry that secret like a stone in her heart. The morning of Amara's departure dawned bright and cruel. The rooster crowed as usual. The girls went to the stream as usual. Chukwudi fed the chickens as usual. Nothing was usual. At noon, the black Mercedes arrived. Amara emerged from the bedroom wearing her best clothes, the ones she saved for weddings. Her small suitcase was packed. Chukwudi stood in the doorway, confusion and fear battling on his face. Amara. Where are you going? Is someone sick? I'm leaving, Amara said, her voice flat. I can't do this anymore. The words hung in the air like smoke. Leaving? Chukwudi's voice cracked. Leaving for where? For how long? Forever. The girls had returned from the stream just in time to hear that single word. The clay pots crashed to the ground, water spreading like tears across the red earth. Mama. Chioma whispered. Mama, what are you saying? Amara wouldn't look at them. She walked to the car, her movements mechanical, as if she were in a trance. Chukwudi fell to his knees. Amara, please. I'll do anything. I'll borrow money. I'll go to my brother and beg. Please don't leave our children. Amara paused at the car door. For a moment, her resolve wavered. She turned and looked at her family, her husband on his knees, her daughters crying, the compound that had been her prison for 15 years. Tell them I died, she said quietly. It will be easier. Then she got into the car and closed the door. The first week without Amara was the hardest. Ngozi cried for her mother every night, her small voice piercing the darkness like a knife. Nkechi stopped eating. Ifeoma refused to speak. Amara Jr., named after the mother who abandoned her, tore every photo of Amara from the family album. Chukwudi wandered through the compound like a ghost, unable to eat, unable to sleep, unable to do anything but stare at the road where the car had disappeared. It was Adiz who held the family together. At 15, she became mother to 5 younger sisters. She cooked, she cleaned, she comforted, she prayed. We will survive, she told them each night. We have each other. We have Papa. We will survive. But even as she said the words, a part of her wondered if survival was enough. 1 month after Amara left, Chukwudi's brother, Obiora, arrived at the compound. He came in his own car, not as fancy as the Mercedes that took Amara, but still a car. He wore a nice shirt and carried a small bag of provisions. Brother, Obiora said, his eyes avoiding Chukwudi's. I heard what happened. I came to help. Chukwudi looked at his brother, the brother who had cheated him of their father's land, who had built a life on stolen inheritance. Years of anger boiled in his chest, but he was too tired, too broken to fight. The children need food, he said quietly. That's all. Obiora nodded and handed over the bag. Inside was rice, beans, dried fish, and a small envelope of money. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. But it was something. Brother, Obiora said hesitantly, I want to give you back some of the land. Just a small portion. To farm. Chukwudi stared at him. 15 years too late, the offer came. 15 years after their father's death, after Amara had watched their dreams die, after she had left. Why now? Chukwudi asked. Obiora looked at the 6 girls huddled in the doorway, at their thin faces and tired eyes. Because I have children too, he whispered. And I thank God every day that their mother stayed. The small piece of land changed everything. Chukwudi threw himself into farming with renewed energy. The girls helped after school, planting, weeding, watering. Within 6 months, they harvested enough vegetables to sell at the village market. Within a year, they saved enough to buy more chickens for the poultry. Slowly, painfully, life began to improve. But the shadow of Amara's departure never left them. The village whispered. Neighbors pointed. The girls walked to school with their heads down, avoiding the pitying looks and cruel comments. Your mother ran away, children would taunt. Your mother didn't want you. Adis always defended her sisters, chasing the bullies away with fierce determination. But at night, alone on her mat, she would cry into her pillow, wondering what she had done wrong, why her mother's love hadn't been enough to make her stay. 5 years passed. Then 10. Then 15. The girls grew into women, each one beautiful and strong, shaped by hardship but not broken by it. Adis became a teacher, using her salary to help her sisters through school. Chioma trained as a nurse and found work at the hospital in Onitsha. Ifeoma discovered a talent for business and opened a small shop selling fabrics. Amara Jr., who had once torn up her mother's photos, became a lawyer, the first in the family. Nkechi studied agriculture and returned to expand their father's farm. And little Ngozi, the baby who had cried for her mother, graduated top of her class in computer science. Chukwudi watched his daughters with pride swelling in his chest. The mud house had been replaced with a cement block bungalow. The poultry farm now supplied eggs to shops across 3 local government areas. They had made it. They had survived. But on the 20th anniversary of Amara's departure, something happened that would shake their world again. A letter arrived, postmarked from Lagos, addressed to Adis in handwriting she didn't recognize. She opened it with trembling hands and read the first line. My dearest daughter, I know you probably hate me, and you have every right to. But I am dying, and before I go, I need to tell you the truth about why I left. Adis' vision blurred. Her legs gave way, and she sank to the floor, the letter falling from her hands. 20 years of silence. 20 years of wandering. 20 years of pain, and now this. The truth was about to be revealed in the most shocking way. Adis' hands shook as she picked up the letter from the floor. 20 years of buried anger surged through her veins like poison. She wanted to tear the paper into 1,000 pieces. She wanted to burn it and never know what it said. But something stronger, curiosity, or perhaps a desperate daughter's love, made her read on. I am in a hospital in Lagos, the letter continued. The doctors say I have only weeks left. Please, Adis, I beg you, come and see me before I die. Bring your sisters if they will come. There are things I must tell you face to face. Secrets about my living that no one knows. Your father's brother, Uncle Obiora, he knows part of it. But not all. Please come. Your mother, Amara. Adis read the words 3 times, her mind refusing to accept them. After 20 years of nothing, her mother wanted to see her. After abandoning them like unwanted puppies, she wanted forgiveness. No, Adis whispered, crushing the letter in her fist. No. You don't get to do this. You don't get to leave us and then call us when you're dying. But even as she said the words, tears streamed down her face. Because despite everything, despite the pain and the abandonment and the years of struggle, a small part of her, the 15-year-old girl who had watched her mother drive away, still wanted her mama. That evening, Adis gathered her sisters at their father's house. The bungalow was warm and welcoming, filled with the smell of Nkechi's cooking and the sound of Ifeoma's laughter. But when Adis walked in, her face pale and her eyes red, the laughter died. What happened? Chioma asked, rushing to her side. Are you sick? Is it work? Adis said nothing. She simply unfolded the letter and handed it to Chioma. One by one, the sisters read it. One by one, their faces transformed, shock, anger, pain, and something else. Something none of them wanted to name. She wants to see us. Amara Jr. laughed bitterly, but the sound held no joy. After 20 years, she wants to see us. I was named after her, and she left me. She left all of us. She was dying when she wrote this, Ifeoma said quietly, studying the date on the letter. This is from 3 weeks ago. She might already be. Nobody finished the sentence. Chukwudi, now an old man with grey hair and tired eyes, sat in his corner chair, listening. When the silence stretched too long, he spoke. Go. The sisters turned to stare at him. Papa. Nkechi whispered. After what she did to you? To us. Chukwudi's eyes were wet, but his voice was steady. I spent 20 years being angry. 20 years hating her for living. But hate is a heavy load to carry, my children. It will weigh you down until you can't move forward. He paused, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. She was your mother. Whatever she did, wherever she's been, she carried you in her womb. Go. Hear what she has to say. Then you can decide how to feel. The sisters looked at each other, 6 pairs of eyes filled with confusion and pain. In the end, it was little Ngozi, now a grown woman of 22, who made the decision. I'll go, she said softly. I was the youngest. I don't really remember her face. Just her voice. Just her smell. I need to see her before she's gone forever. One by one, the others nodded. Even Amara Jr., whose anger burned hottest, finally agreed. We'll go together, Adis decided. We'll hear what she has to say. And then we'll leave and never look back. Little did she know that the truth waiting for them in Lagos would change everything she thought she knew about her mother and about herself. The drive to Lagos took 8 hours. The 6 sisters traveled in 2 cars, speaking little during the journey. Each one was lost in her own memories, her own pain, her own questions. Adis remembered the look on her mother's face when she pried Nkechi's fingers from her wrapper. That cold, empty expression haunted her dreams for years. Chioma remembered the hunger. The nights when they went to sleep with empty stomachs, crying for food that wasn't there. Ifeoma remembered the shame. The torn dresses, the bare feet, the whispered comments at church. Amara Jr. remembered tearing up the photos. The satisfaction of destroying her mother's face, piece by piece. Nkechi remembered the nightmares. Waking up screaming for a mother who would never come. And Ngozi remembered nothing. Just a voice. Just a smell. Just an empty space where a mother should have been. The Lagos traffic swallowed them whole as they entered the city. Skyscrapers towered above them, and the noise was deafening. This was where their mother had come. This was the life she had chosen over them. The hospital was a small private clinic in Suraleh, hidden between towering buildings and busy markets. The sisters packed and walked inside, their hearts pounding in unison. At the reception desk, Adis cleared her throat. We are here to see Amara Okonkwo. She's a patient here. The receptionist's eyes widened. Okonkwo. The woman in room 302. Are you her family? Yes, Adi said quietly. We are her daughters. The receptionist's face did something strange, a flicker of surprise, followed by something that looked almost like pity. Room 302. Third floor. The doctor would like to speak with you before you see her. The sisters exchanged confused glances but followed the directions to the third floor. Dr. Mensah was a gentleman with kind eyes and a quiet voice. He invited the 6 women into his small office and closed the door carefully behind them. Thank you for coming, he began. Your mother has been asking for you every day since she arrived. I was beginning to think, well, never mind what I was thinking. Is she? Ngozi couldn't finish the question. She's alive, Dr. Mensah assured them quickly. But she's very weak. The cancer has spread to her lungs, her liver, her bones. She has maybe 2 weeks. Maybe less. Cancer. The word hung in the air like a death sentence. But that's not why I asked to speak with you, Dr. Mensah continued, his voice growing more serious. There's something else. Something your mother wanted me to tell you before you see her. He paused, choosing his words carefully. Your mother arrived at this hospital with a man. A wealthy man. He has paid for all her treatments, the private room, everything. Amara Jr.'s eyes narrowed. The man she left us for. Dr. Mensah held up a hand. Please, let me finish. That man is not her husband. He never was. He is her brother. Silence. Complete, total silence. Her brother. Adis whispered. But Mama had no brothers. She was an only child. She told us that her whole life. Dr. Mensah nodded slowly. I know. That's what she told everyone. But the truth is different. The man who brought her here is her younger brother. They were separated as children and only found each other a few years ago. His name is Chief Edward Okonkwo. The room spun. The sisters grabbed each other for support. Okonkwo. Chioma gasped. That's our family name. Yes, Dr. Mensah confirmed. Edward Okonkwo is your mother's brother. Which means he is also your father's brother. Ifeoma's hand flew to her mouth. Uncle Obiora. No. No, that's impossible. Uncle Obiora is Papa's brother. They have the same parents. We know them. We grew up with them. Dr. Mensah's face was filled with sympathy. I'm sorry. I don't know the whole story. Only your mother can explain. But I thought you should know before you see her. The sisters stumbled out of the doctor's office, their minds reeling. Uncle Obiora, the uncle who had cheated their father of his land, was actually their mother's brother. How was that possible? What did it mean? The questions multiplied as they walked toward room 302, their footsteps echoing in the quiet corridor like drumbeats announcing the arrival of truth. Room 302 was small and clean, filled with the sterile smell of hospitals. Machines beeped softly. Tubes and wires connected a tiny figure in the bed to various monitors. Amara had shrunk. That was the first thing Adis noticed. The woman who had once stood tall and proud, who had worn expensive girly and walked to a waiting Mercedes, was now a small, shrunken shell of a person. Her skin was grey. Her eyes were sunken. Her hands, resting on the white sheets, were skeletal. But her eyes, those eyes still held life. And when she saw her 6 daughters enter the room, those eyes filled with tears. My babies, Amara whispered, her voice a dry rustle like dead leaves. My beautiful babies. You came. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. 6 women stood frozen at the door, staring at the woman who had abandoned them. Amara reached out a trembling hand. Adis. My firstborn. Please. Come closer. Let me look at you. Adi's feet moved before her mind could stop them. She walked to the bedside and looked down at her mother. 20 years of anger melted away, replaced by something softer, sadder. Why? Adi whispered. Why did you leave us? Amara's face crumpled. Tears streamed down her hollow cheeks. I was stupid, she breathed. I was young and stupid and angry. I thought money would make me happy. I thought living would solve everything. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. Then why didn't you come back? Chioma demanded, stepping forward. After a year, after 2 years, after 10 years, why didn't you come back? Because I was ashamed, Amara cried softly. Because every day that passed made it harder. Because I thought you would hate me. Because I thought you were better off without me. We weren't better off. Ifeoma's voice rose with anger. We suffered. We cried for you. Ngozi cried for you every night for a year. Ngozi, standing at the back, was crying now too, silent tears streaming down her face as she stared at the mother she barely remembered. Amara motioned weakly toward a chair beside her bed. Sit. Please. All of you. I don't have much time, and there's so much you need to know. The sisters hesitated, then slowly found places to sit, on the bed, on chairs, on the windowsill. The room felt smaller than ever, packed with 6 women and 20 years of secrets. The man I left with, Amara began, her voice trembling. His name was not Chananai's cousin. He is my brother. My younger brother, Edward. We know, Adi said quietly. The doctor told us. Amara's eyes widened with surprise, then filled with relief. Good. Good. That makes this easier. She took a shallow breath. Edward and I grew up in a village far from here. Our mother died when I was 10 and he was 5. Our father remarried a woman who hated us. When I was 15, she sold me to an old man as a third wife. The sisters gasped. Horror filled their faces. I ran away, Amara continued, her voice growing stronger with each word. I ran until I couldn't run anymore. I ended up in your father's village. He found me by the roadside, hungry and terrified. He took me in. He fed me. He protected me. And I fell in love with him. But you left him, Amara Jr. said bitterly. The man who saved you, you left him. Amara nodded, tears flowing freely. I know. I know. And I will regret it until my last breath. But you need to understand, Edward found me. After 30 years of searching, my baby brother found me. And he told me something that shattered my world. She paused, gathering strength. He told me that the woman who sold me, our stepmother, was still alive. And she was living in luxury with the money she got from selling me. Edward had tracked her down. He had proof. But he needed money to take her to court, to get justice. So you left us for money. Nkechi's voice cracked. You left 6 children for money. I left to get money, Amara corrected gently. Edward promised me that if I came with him to Lagos, helped him with his business, we would raise enough to fight the case. He said it would take 6 months. Maybe a year. Then I would come back with enough money to change everything for your family. But you never came back, Adis whispered. Because the case took years, Amara sobbed. And because Edward lied to me. He lied about what? Chioma asked, leaning forward. Amara closed her eyes, pain etching deeper lines into her face. Edward never wanted to help me. He wanted revenge. He wanted to destroy the woman who ruined our childhood. And he used me to do it. He made me work like a slave in his factory, promising me shares, promising me money, promising me that soon, very soon, we would have enough. But we did win the case, Amara continued. After 5 years, we won. The woman went to prison. And Edward gave me money, a lot of money. Enough to come back to you, enough to build a new house, enough to send you all to school. Hope flickered in the sister's eyes. So why didn't you? Ifeoma demanded. Why didn't you come back? Because Edward told me something else, Amara whispered. He told me that your father, that Chukwudi, was married to someone else. The room went deathly still. What? Addis breathed. That's impossible. Papa never married anyone else. He waited for you for years. He never even looked at another woman. I know that now, Amara cried. But Edward showed me photographs. He showed me letters. He made me believe that Chukwudi had moved on, that he had found a new wife, that my children had a new mother. He told me I would destroy your happiness if I came back. Ngozi stood up, her face white with shock. But that was a lie. All of it was a lie. Yes, Amara sobbed. Edward wanted me to stay. He needed me for his business. I was making him rich, and he didn't want to lose me. So he destroyed my hope. He destroyed my chance to come home. The sisters sat in stunned silence, their world shifting beneath them. All these years, they had hated their mother for leaving. All these years, they had blamed her for choosing money over them. And now they learned that she had been tricked, manipulated, lied to by her own brother. But wait, Addis said slowly, her lawyer's mind working through the implications. Uncle Obiora, Papa's brother, he's not really Papa's brother. He's your brother. Amara nodded weakly. Edward changed his name when he came to this region. He wanted to disappear, to start fresh. He chose the name Obiora Okonkwo because Okonkwo is a common name here. He never expected to fall in love with your father's sister. The sisters gasped again. Papa has a sister. Chioma exclaimed. We never knew that. She died young, Amara explained. Before your father married me. But Edward met her, loved her, and when she died, he stayed close to the family. He pretended to be your father's long-lost brother. And because your father's real brother had died as a child, nobody questioned it. So Uncle Obiora, Edward, he's been lying to everyone for decades. Ifeoma whispered. He cheated Papa out of his land, he made our mother leave, she stopped, unable to continue. He's evil, Nkechi finished for her. Pure evil. Amara nodded weakly. When I finally discovered the truth, that your father never remarried, that you were all still there, waiting, I confronted Edward. He laughed at me. He said it was too late, that you would never believe me, that I had been gone too long. And I believed him. I was too ashamed to try. Until now, Addis said softly. Until now, Amara agreed. When the doctors told me I was dying, I knew I had to try. I had to tell you the truth. I had to ask for your forgiveness, even though I don't deserve it. The sisters looked at each other, a silent conversation passing between them. 20 years of anger. 20 years of pain. 20 years of wondering why their mother had left. And now, the truth, ugly and complicated and heartbreaking. Addis was the first to move. She sat on the edge of the bed and took her mother's skeletal hand in hers. You should have come, she whispered. You should have tried. Even if you thought we wouldn't believe you, you should have tried. I know, Amara sobbed. I know. I was a coward. I was a fool. Chioma moved next, sitting on the other side of the bed. We cried for you, she said quietly. For years, we cried. Nkechi had nightmares. Ngozi didn't even remember your face. Amara's sobs grew louder, her body shaking with the force of her grief. Ifeoma stepped forward. Amara Jr. followed. Nkechi and Ngozi completed the circle, 6 daughters surrounding their dying mother. We can't forgive you yet, Addis said firmly. It's too soon. The pain is too fresh. But we're here. We came. And we'll stay until. She couldn't finish the sentence. Until I die, Amara finished for her, a strange peace settling over her face. That's more than I deserve. Thank you. Thank you, my beautiful daughters. That night, the sisters took turns sitting with their mother. They talked about their lives, Daddy's teaching, Chioma's nursing, Ifeoma's shop, Amara Jr.'s law practice, Nkechi's farm, Ngozi's computer business. They showed her photos of their achievements, their friends, their small successes. Amara listened with wonder in her dying eyes. You did it, she whispered over and over. You did it without me. You're so strong. So beautiful. So capable. We did it because of you too, Ngozi said softly. In a strange way. We worked hard because we didn't want to be poor. We studied because we didn't want to depend on anyone. We became strong because we had to be. Amara's tears flowed freely. I'm so proud of you. So incredibly proud. In the early hours of the morning, as the first light of dawn crept through the hospital window, Amara asked for one last thing. Your father, she whispered. Is he happy? Adi smiled through her tears. He's happy, Mama. He has his farm, his chickens, his daughters. He forgave you years ago. He told us to come. Amara's face transformed with wonder. He forgave me. After everything. He said hate is too heavy to carry, Chioma added. He's been carrying it for both of you. Amara closed her eyes, a peaceful smile on her wasted face. I loved him, you know. I never stopped loving him. I was just so stupid. We know, Mama, Adis whispered, squeezing her hand. We know. 2 days later, Amara Okonkwo died peacefully in her sleep, surrounded by all 6 of her daughters. Her last words were, tell them I'm sorry. Tell them I love them. Tell them. She never finished the sentence. But her daughters knew what she wanted to say. After the funeral, a small, private service attended only by the sisters and their father, the family gathered at Chukwudi's house in Umuos. The old man sat in his corner chair, his eyes red from crying, his heart heavy with grief for the woman he had loved and lost twice. She was strict, Adis told him gently, recounting everything Amara had revealed. Uncle Obiora, Edward, he's not really your brother. He's Mama's brother. He lied to everyone. Chukwudi's face aged 10 years in that moment. Obiora. The man who stole my land. The man who pretended to be my brother for 40 years. Yes, Papa. The old man stood up slowly, his joints cracking with the effort. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, in a voice trembling with rage and sorrow, he spoke. Take me to him. The confrontation happened the next day at Obiora's mansion in Enugu. The 6 sisters flanked their father as they marched through the gates, past the guards, into the lavish living room where Obiora sat watching television. He looked up, surprise flickering across his face, then quickly masked by a practiced smile. Brother. And my beautiful nieces. What a wonderful surprise. Sit down, sit down. Let me call for drinks. Don't call for anything, Chukwudi interrupted, his voice still. We know everything. Obiora's smile froze. Everything. Everything about what? About who you really are, Adi stepped forward, her lawyer's voice sharp and clear. You're not our father's brother. You never were. You're Edward Okonkwo, our mother's brother. The man who sold lies to his own sister and destroyed our family. For a long moment, Obiora said nothing. Then, slowly, the mask fell away. His face hardened into something ugly. So she told you, he said flatly. After all these years, she finally opened her mouth. She's dead, Chioma spat. She died 2 days ago. Thanks to you. Obiora's eyes flickered, something that might have been pain, might have been guilt. but it disappeared as quickly as it came. Good. Now her secrets die with her. Her secrets don't die, Amara Jr. stepped forward, her voice shaking with fury. We know what you did. We know you lied to her. We know you stole Papa's land. We know everything. Obiora laughed, a cold, cruel sound. And what will you do about it? Go to the police. With what proof? It's your word against mine. I'm a respected chief. You're just farmers' daughters. Chukwudi moved so fast nobody saw it coming. One moment he was standing at the door. The next, he had Obiora by the throat, pinning him against the wall. You took my land, he growled, his voice barely human. You took my wife. You took 20 years of my children's lives. And now you laugh. Obiora's face turned purple. His hands clawed at Chukwudi's grip. The sisters watched, frozen, unsure whether to stop their father or let him finish what he started. Papa, please, Adis finally whispered. He's not worth it. He's not worth your freedom. Chukwudi held on for one more second, 2 more, 3, then released Obiora, who slid to the floor gasping. You will pay for what you did, Chukwudi said quietly. If not in this life, then in the next. But know this, my daughters survived. They thrived. They became something you could never destroy. And that is your real punishment. He turned and walked out without looking back. His daughters followed, leaving Obiora crumpled on his marble floor, gasping for air and staring at the family he had tried so hard to destroy. 1 year later, the Okonkwo family gathered again, this time for a celebration. Adis was getting married, and the compound overflowed with guests, food, music, and joy. Chukwudi sat in his corner chair, watching his daughters dance and laugh and live. Ngozi had just been promoted at her tech company. Nkechi's farm had won an award. Ifeoma was opening a second shop. Amara Jr. had been appointed a judge. Chioma was expecting her first child. And Adis, his firstborn, his rock, his strength, she glowed with happiness as her new husband held her close. In the corner of the compound, away from the music and dancing, 6 framed photographs hung on the wall of the family sitting room. 5 showed the daughters on their graduation days, their achievements, their happy moments. The 6th showed a woman with sad eyes and a gentle smile, Amara, on the day she married Chukwudi, 35 years ago. She would have been happy today, Chioma said softly, coming to stand beside her father. Chukwudi nodded, his eyes misty. She is happy, he corrected gently. Wherever she is, she's watching. And she's proud. The music swelled. The dancing continued. And somewhere, in a place beyond pain and separation, a mother smiled at the family she had lost and found again in the most unexpected way. For in the end, love is not about perfection. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about forgiveness. It's about healing. It's about 6 daughters who chose to understand rather than hate, who chose to listen rather than judge, who chose to love rather than hold grudges. And that, more than anything, was the greatest gift Amara could have ever given them, not her presence, but her absence, which taught them the true meaning of strength, resilience, and the unbreakable bond of family.